and welcome to episode 542 of the God is a Geek podcast. My name's Adam Cook, and I'm joined this episode by Lyle Carr. Hello, Lyle.
Hello. We're back again. I've not missed a podcast yet this year. What a fun treat! But someone else hasn't even bloody been on one.
Why don't you introduce him? I feel that's
Sure thing. I can do that. He's back. He's here for 2024. He's your friend and mine. He's Chris Hyde.
Hey, Chris.
The feeling's not mutual. Hello. Do you know what? Actually, it's like a dagger through the heart when Lyle gets introduced before me. So, that means I've definitely got to get my podding game back.
I was building suspense.
Podding game back
to who is it? Just them two again?
Let's hope not. Hello. I'm glad I'm here.
It's
been far too long, but I'm glad I'm here to chat video games with one lovable person and Lyle. It's gonna be great. Can't wait.
I always worry when you two do this bit because it's like, imagine if you listen to the podcast the first time and someone's like, "Oh my god, they really don't like it." It's like I'd like to think if they just hang around for a few minutes, because it is a bit, Chris, isn't it? Wouldn't you admit?
I don't know what he's talking about there, Chris.
Well,
looking at him.
I know. Let's talk about some games then, as you say, some video games, because Lyle and I have sort of been alluding to some big stuff that we can't talk about yet. One of those games we can talk about this week. In fact, 3 of these games have been under embargo for a while, so we can talk about all of them. Obviously, it would be a strange podcast if we didn't talk about them. So let's start with a small game, I think, of the smallest game of the 3.
A little game.
Well, see, I wasn't sure whether to try and do a little pun or to try and turn Lil into Lyle, like Lil.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Lil Guardsman. It doesn't work. Lil Guardsman. Lil Guardsman. Say it with me. Lil Guardsman.
Lil Guardsman.
Strange name for a video game?
No, perfect name.
It makes sense for what the video game is. It's about someone called Lil, who is also small, and who is a guardsman.
I keep forgetting her name is Lil. But
that's quite key to the name.
Yeah. But do you not feel like at any point during development that even the voice actors say, could you not change her name so it's like an easy one to say? Because it's quite a difficult word to say, I think. No, it's just me, isn't it? Okay.
No, it's just you. That's
it's 3 letters long. It's not hard.
Lil.
No,
it sounds like little.
You're adding sounds to it. It's just
I can't help my voice. I'm sorry.
Lil.
Yeah, little.
Yep.
No, sorry. You're saying like little.
Yeah, you're talking about the shop.
Because that's what that implies. The apostrophe on the end implies it's Western, isn't it? It's like John Wayne or someone's going to come and go, "Hey, little guardsman." You know what I mean? So it's little.
No, I get the point.
It is the supermarket.
I think it's just supposed to be little. Make me do it now. Little guardsman.
I'm not making you.
Wow.
Anyway.
But let's talk about the game, shall we?
Yeah, please.
I don't know. I reckon we could get another 5 minutes out of the name easily.
Yeah. Okay.
But we should talk about the game because we have been actually watching it for quite a while. It's one of those that there seems to be like a trailer every other week. And I actually had a conversation with the PR behind it saying, like, "Are you going to announce a release date for this game soon?" And they're like, "We are, just stay tuned." And it's like, then they did really, really soon. Like, as soon as the new year, basically, it was like, it's out in whatever it was at the time. Been keeping an eye on it because it's one of those that as soon as you see it, it's got like a really striking art style. Like, it really looks lovely. And you previewed it as well, Lyle. Like, it feels like ages ago now, right?
It was ages. I think it was like 6 months or something ago. Which was like, I think the preview was like sort of one of the 12 days.
Okay.
Although I actually think they took like half of one day and half of a different day and smushed them together.
Okay.
So yeah, it was an interesting game. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I mean, it's one of those games where, I know of 2 coming this year of the sort of Papers, Please style games.
Is that the new Souls-like? A Papers, Please like?
I
hope so.
Oh, no,
I
would love that. I think that'd be great.
like them, but which one's the other one you're thinking of?
Yeah,
Techno Banter.
Yeah, that's the one that looks a bit like the Brexit one from a few years ago, isn't it?
Not something. It was called Not Tonight. No, what was it called? That one.
Not Tonight. That's
the
one. Yeah, because I reviewed that. It's a bit more Lyle-y than what I've just described.
Yeah.
But it's
bit more Lily.
Yeah.
I couldn't listen to this podcast and goes, "What's wrong with his voice? What's wrong with him?" No, I was wondering about that with the preview because it's like it's not a long game. This really in the grand. Well, let me put it this way: having finished like a dragon. I think you said Lilla Dragon, a dragon, Infinite Wealth. This is not a long game, but this is not a long game by anyone's standard. I think
it's not long in the sense of what you would if you get how long the games last these days. No, it's a short game.
But mercifully short, I would argue.
But I would also say there's kind of a lot to try and master, as you will learn if you want to try and do everything well and need to use Chris Hyde's wonderful guides that can be found on godisageek.com.
Well done, Lil.
Thank you very much. It's so the way it works, it's kind of like Papers, Please. You man a little like guard booth in the entrance to a fantasy town or a fantasy castle or something that's guarding something fantasy.
It gives me slight Discworld vibes, that bit.
Oh, it's very much like that.
Okay, I didn't know if that was just me or that's
it's a little bit like that. I mean, it's fantasy anyway, but it is zany, quirky fantasy, isn't it? So it is Pratchett adjacent for not being a knob, but it is that type of thing. The sprawl. You're guarding the sprawl.
You
are. You're fantasy metropolis.
Mm-hmm. That's why you're guarding, and every day you'll have sort of like different sort of rules as to what you have to look out for, or maybe even it's sort of kind of a different objective altogether. But at the start of the day, you'll sort of have the Royal Writ will have all sorts of little rules that you need to follow, like maybe you can't let goblins in. Goblins get a rough go of it in Lil Guardsman, really. Or maybe there's a royal wedding on, and anyone who's going to be helping out at the royal wedding, you have to try and like rush them through and call ahead to one of the like managery people, and make sure that they get through quickly and can help out quickly and stuff like that. And you've got. But alongside that, there's also some unsavory types you'll be trying to get in, which is where your handy gadgets are helpful. So you've got like this whole set of 5 different gadgets. You've got a truth spray, a metal detector, an X-ray thing, a decoder ring, and a whip. And they all just do different things. It's really like it always feels cool to just like X-ray someone when they've got a massive briefcase, and sometimes you'll see like that a person is 2 people stood on top of each other, full on family movie style. Sometimes you'll like use the I'm pretty sure, I don't think I ever did it, but I'm sure there's a race where if you use the X-ray scanner on it, they tell you they'll like explode or something.
Yeah, it's in the writ, isn't it? They like if you use it on
like a
trolls
troll
or something, they'll explode. I don't know if I tried that.
But there are all these things, and like everything has been accounted for. Like every single person who comes to your booth, there'll be like loads of unique conversations based on what you use your 3 action points you get before letting them through the booth in. And it's like so funny and so well written and so lovely. Like it's kind of wild how well they've done all the sort of charm and writing and comedy side of the game, because it really, really works. Like I remember last year when we were talking about Have a Nice Death, we were talking about how it would make such a good adult animation series, and I think Lil Guardsman might have that topped for that sort of thing. Like I would binge a series of that in a heartbeat. I think it has everything going for it that would work.
I think that's why the Discworld thing comes to mind a little bit.
Yeah,
I remember that game as one of the earliest games I thought was like, this is actually funny.
It is genuinely funny. It's the right side of like witty and silly kind of combination, isn't it? It's like the thing I remember, the 2 kind of reference points I had when I was playing it was visually an art style and humor as well. Nobody Saves the World.
Yeah, definitely.
But also it reminded me a lot, and I know it's strongly influenced from the old like LucasArts.
Yeah, also
games,
yeah.
Like Day of the Tentacle, that type of stuff. Like, and you could definitely see that in the writing. And I love that it's all voiced. It's all voiced.
That surprised me. Not just voiced. I mean, I'm not going to spoil, but sung. Like you'll know what I'm talking about there. I'm not going to spoil it any further than that. But like that bit was particularly like that was kind of not the turning point, but that was like a standout moment where you go, oh wow, there's a lot gone into this. But it's also kind of I mentioned earlier on about how like it was coming for a long time. I do worry a little about the release date that they decided upon in the end. I mean, is there any good time? But it doesn't half seem like a strange.
I mean, it's one of those ones where I'd release a game in the second half of this year if I was planning anything, but then the second half might get packed.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. But I don't know.
I mean, like Lyle, you've reviewed this. Give it an 8.5. I'd give it at least that. I think it's brilliant. You mentioned the references and stuff. This game is packed with like little nods to like so many different things that are like, and it's done really well. Like, even right at the end, like towards the end of the 11th day, it's still ramming in the references to stuff. Like, even the last character has got this like classic reference to something. I won't spoil it, but it's just like, it's just so well done and so well. Like I said, the voice acting really nails all the different character types and interactions. And I haven't really kind of mentioned the fact that your decisions change a load of stuff. So depending on how you choose to interact, the characters will say and do different things, and all of that's voiced and everything as well, and all kind of lands when it is as well. Like you don't ever get that sort of like weird, like loop dialogue where you think that answer doesn't really fit that response because it's tried to reuse stuff and shoehorn stuff in. It all just sort of flows depending on the decisions that like you make. I was really impressed with it. It genuinely was fun to play through, and also made me laugh and smile quite a lot as I was doing it. Like it was a very enjoyable thing. And you haven't even talked about the stuff where you're not a guardsman, but like,
yeah, exactly. Like it's sort of being a guardsman is maybe just over half the game, maybe about half the game, because most days you have kind of like other tasks to be getting on with. And the one that I was I'm always happy to bring up extra times because is the one that I covered in the preview. So I don't really feel like it's spoiling much to say the whole like choosing a hero in a blind date style game show like segment, which is just like really funny and stupid, and like all of these things as well are happening to Lil, who is a 12-year-old, I believe.
That can't be forgotten. That can't be forgotten.
We didn't mention that just because, Lil's doing this because her dad's got a gambling problem.
Her dad's an addict in terms of gambling, so basically says, "Go to work for me."
Because I'm going to be gambling all day.
But it gets away with that because of the sort of like it's that Sunday morning cartoon humor, but it's more like the Simpsons humor, where like there's jokes in there for you as an adult, but they're not horrible, nasty jokes.
No,
do you know what I mean? It's the one where you could be watching something like The Simpsons with a youngster, and they'd laugh, but you laugh at something else, and it just be, I think it does it really well. Like, and I was intrigued about that bit you mentioned, Lyle, actually, because when I played that bit, the game show bit, I didn't know if I was how much influence I was having because it was my first one.
Yeah,
and I assume that it is any of the three characters. I won't say what happens to them, but that can happen to any of the three characters there?
No.
I was going to say I don't know because someone's guided this, yes, and we'll know.
So the rogue
I do, and the answer is no.
So the rogue always.
No.
Oh no, the rogue didn't for me. So
it did for me.
No, and I don't want to spoil. We'll talk off pod, but this is what I'm talking about.
I haven't finished. I actually haven't finished the game, I should say. So
no, but like the point is like there is quite a lot to this that's like nuanced stuff, and there is that whole like it's not quite so and so. Remember that, but it is like the sprawl will be changed by your decisions, kind of thing. You don't quite know. But there are multiple endings. I don't exactly know how many there are, but there are definitely multiple endings because the game took great pleasure in telling me I didn't get the best ending when I finished the game.
But it's cleverly done because you another part of the mechanics is when you can use your X-ray or the whip or whatever that you can also then if you do find something you can confiscate it. And there's a store mechanic where there's one moment where you confiscate weed, and it cracked me up thinking of this 12-year-old confiscating. I think I got a bottle of wine, I got weed, all sorts, and then I went to a back alley and flogged it for some cash. And that's fine, you can do that. But after doing it once for another item, I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with fixing the jukebox in the pub. As your home, you live above a pub as well. And I was like, oh, damn it. And so so then I'm like, oh well, actually, I'm just going to keep this stuff in my inventory. But it's just really well. Like the conversational stuff is really well done. Like you have these chats that they feel fleshed out.
Yeah,
and they are rewarding, because as much as I wish it was 5 stars and not getting 4 stars and everything because I'm weird, and that's like, why it shouldn't be out of 4. It has to be out of 3 or 5. It can't be out of, you can't do out of even numbers of stars, whatever. So you know, by each day you get a rating out of 4 stars based on how well you did it. And I love the little transcriptions after each day of like what happened. Some of them are quite long. Some of them are quite lengthy.
Some of them
and
are just
they're chuckle-worthy.
lore.
Yeah,
backstories that you don't need to know about, and it's like so funny. It's like, oh, so and so went off and like did all this thing and got married and had 2 kids and then died. You're like, okay, like, fine.
It's just like a really delightful game.
Yeah,
and I hate that it sounds like I'm damning it with faint praise, and I don't mean to, but I do think it's going to get lost. And I hope it doesn't, because hopefully people see the image and the visuals and go, oh, that looks lovely, and give it a try.
It's I do hope it does. I mean, Papers, Please, like you referenced, did get like a cult following, and it got a lot of like coverage, and I think people tried it because of that. This is like reviewing well, like your review is indicative of the I guess the opinion of people that do. So I think everyone that's played it has liked it. So like that should be. I mean, obviously, don't read anyone else's, just read ours. But like, obviously. I guess the point is like, it's not just like this is a weird Lyle like thing. We all love it.
Yeah, it's really
everyone
nice
that plays
game.
it will probably like it. It's really enjoyable experience, and I hope it doesn't get lost in the mire of other games we're going to talk about that are a bigger time sink. But it's a nice foil to that type of thing. Like, it's just a nice thing to play.
Do you know, like, throughout the Game of the Year podcast, we were joking about it, but we kept saying, like, in any other year.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been done by what has basically surprised everyone in the industry by this January. Like, I actually think this is a great idea to release this in January in any other year.
Yeah, because Januaries are normally quite quiet.
There's a couple of remasters.
A couple of bangers in January.
But January would be a chance for indies to get some breathing space, a couple of remasters, like The Last of Us Part 2 remastered.
Yeah.
Like, you'd get that. You'd get an Apollo Justice collection that we'll talk about in a minute. You'd get a couple of them remasters, but then you'd have a bit of breathing room for some indie games or unique games. It's just not happened. Like, I think this January has caught everyone by surprise how busy it is, and
it's weird because normally, I guess not to get all corporate, but it's like release it by the end of the year type thing, and it's like there seems to be so many good, strong games that are launching in January. We're going to talk about one in a minute. We've talked about others in previous, or you guys have. I haven't bothered to turn up.
I mean,
like, there have been other conversations.
We're not talking about Tekken 8 this
Tekken
week.
8's another one.
Tekken 8.
Yeah,
and I mentioned The Last of Us, but that's almost like, well, see ya, you're out now, bye. Forget about that one. That's The Last of Us,
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Let's move on then to Apollo Justice. I haven't played this. I don't think Chris has, but you talk to us about what it is, because I believe it's basically this is Capcom going through all of the older Ace Attorney games and Oh, okay.
Pretty much that. So, we quite a while ago now, I can't remember exactly when the Phoenix Wright trilogy came out, but the first 3 games got their own little collection. And 2 years ago, we had the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which were a collection of the 2 most recent Ace Attorney games that had never come to the West before. So, for pretty much all the mainline Ace Attorney games, other than the trilogy that has just come out now, Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Trilogy, we had like all of them on modern consoles, and this is basically Capcom coming and saying, right, well, here's the rest of them. You've got everything now. If you like Ace Attorney, you can play them all pretty much anywhere, and it's great. And they're Ace Attorney games, and they're really, really good. I could kind of end it there. I won't end it there. There's more bits to talk about, but realistically, Ace Attorney games, do you like them? Do you want to make sure you can play all of them? Here they are. But like, it's really nice because for a long time, it felt like Ace Attorney got like completely lost. Like, there was a big chunk of time where I'm sure they released like one of the like later like 3DS Ace Attorney games, and it came out that like it really didn't sell well, and it was like, and Capcom are going to ignore this series forever now because it's kind of dead now. And that's not the case anymore. Like
between this and Ghost Trick, they are definitely trying to sort of say, do you remember those really cool visual novel puzzle games? Like, because I was going to ask you, I mean, I used to love these games, right? Unfortunately, they've been a bit of a casualty of the modern era where they're very long. They are all the games in this, that franchise are long. I just don't have. Everyone's only got so many, hours.
Yeah.
I can't remember what was the last new game in the series, because I feel like that would be the last one I finished.
Well, the last new one were the great Ace Attorney ones that were re-released a couple of years ago because they hadn't come to the West before.
But I mean like the ones that would be new to everyone, like
The one that was new to everyone was the last one in this trilogy, which is kind of a bit like mystical, magical.
And where would that have been on 3DS?
3DS.
So that might be the last one I played then.
Yeah.
Wow, but that's weird that it's not had a new game. Nor's Layton though. I know that's not Capcom, but like Professor Layton, like there was a period where these games were very popular.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I think they were. I mean, my wife played Professor Layton. Like those games
everywhere.
were. I feel like Layton was very popular because there is one coming, isn't there? But like, I feel like when you talk about Professor Layton, not the same, but definitely in that these are.
But they had a crossover, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they feel weirdly connected because of that. So all three of the games in this series, this trilogy are great. They're like they all have little things that make them different. So you've got the first one where it introduces Apollo, that's Apollo Justice, the title character who basically is kind of like was going to be the replacement for Phoenix Wright, but all your favorites from Phoenix Wright are kind of in this trilogy as well. So it's not wiping the slate clean entirely, but he's like rookie defense attorney. But like the thing that's interesting about him is that he has some sort of weird magical power, because there's always weird magical powers in Ace Attorney, but he has a weird magical power to kind of like see when people are lying, like see their little tells, like you would if you were playing poker, like if someone's doing a gulp or someone's like scratches their shoulder every time they're lying. And in a courtroom, that's quite helpful. In a courtroom where everything goes a bit fast and loose and you can just wildly accuse people of lying for gulping and everyone thinks that's fine, that's a pretty helpful thing. And then you've got your second game where there's this little like robot brooch that Athena wears, where it will sort of show you what emotion is going through someone's brain as they're saying something. So sometimes like they'll talk about something tragic and there'll be a weird happy emotion. It'll be like, what? Why are you happy? And you can kind of, find out what's going on there. So on and so forth. There's all these little different things that separate the games. But I mean, if you have, I sort of put in the review, because you sort of have to say it's an Ace Attorney game. So the courtroom games, you use evidence to find contradictions. And, then you do sort of adventure game, point and click, looking at evidence and going around and talking to people outside of the courts. But it should kind of be said that this trilogy specifically is kind of like, it's a bad place to start Ace Attorney. If both of the other collections of Ace Attorney games would be fine places to start, and this is like the one set of 3 games that it doesn't really make sense from a narrative standpoint to start here. And I mean, it kind of has to be said, and it doesn't really take away from how good the games, because they're really good. But like, these are like kind of the 3 weaker games in the series. Like the original 3 are kind of iconic with like certain like prosecutors and certain characters that are just like everyone knows. I mean, fucking Phoenix Wright was in like Marvel versus Capcom and shit. Like
Christ.
It's hard to imagine like a more of a niche character making that. Like he's an iconic character for sure. And then the modern games, the great Ace Attorney ones that came over a couple of years ago in that collection, they were just like kind of the pinnacle of that series as far as I'm concerned. They were amazing. So these are like kind of like, although they're great, they're like the sort of the black sheep portion of the Ace Attorney trilogy. And like, because of that, they're just a little bit worse. I mean, they're great games, but like, it doesn't make sense to start at them. And I think they're the ones that most people who have played all the series would be like, you don't really like have to do these ones. But like the collection on it itself is fantastic. Like it has all these different, like it has the most like dedicated, awesome like museum to this series that you could have of like you can get every character and make them do every one of their little animations in every setting, just from the start of the game. You can start any case from any specific story beat. Like, this isn't, you unlock that once you finish it. It's just do it. It's a collection of games. Start where you want, do what you want. You know, has all the like soundtracks and.
Sounds like it's really for the fans. Like, I know you said about it's not the strongest of the games, but it also sort of, it feels a bit like Capcom sort of clearing their decks as well. Like, I mean, I don't know. So I would surely at some point. Is there anything left to redo with this series?
They haven't done there was Miles Edgeworth Investigations.
Oh my god! Yes, there was
weird not courtroom games in the series that I don't think one of them left Japan, and there's 2 of them. So yeah, they haven't been done yet. And the Phoenix Wright Layton crossover got left in obscurity as well. But like for the most part, and when I said like mainline games, like they've definitely covered all the bases there. Oh, the other thing I should mention, which I think every game like this should have, is that there is literally a button you can press that toggles story mode where the game plays itself. So if you're ever stuck, the game will just it will just like, and it does this. The way it does this is really clever because it does it really slowly. So like if you press onto the story mode when you're at a like certain, like say you've got like someone doing their testimony, and usually you'd have to like figure out which bit of the testimony is kind of the issue and then get your evidence out and stuff. If you press the story mode, it will slowly move to the bit of testimony that is the issue, and then it'll open your evidence and you know, okay, this is the one I need to work with. So you can untoggle the story mode then, and
that's cool. So it just gives you a little nudge in the right direction.
Just
is it a bit like let me Google this for you site where you know,
yeah,
and it's like the mouse ticks over and
it's just the perfect level of like you can literally click that button, sit back, be eating your dinner, and watch Ace Attorney play itself and enjoy the story, which is really nice. Or you can get stuck at one specific point, get a little bit of a nudge in the right direction, or if you still don't get it, you can just leave it on and you know it'll do it for you. It's ridiculously helpful. It means you will never ever need to Google answers. It means that you can use it kind of as a hint system. It's really cool. And yeah, any game like this, I would be very happy if they included just this mode, because it's like, you don't like, surely if you're going to play a game like this and you get stuck, you probably just Google it. Why not just let it like be in the game and not make you feel bad for it? It's awesome.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, a really good set of games, really. And they're all out now. Play every Ace Attorney game. There's no other games to bother with. It's fine.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, let's move on then to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which I've left to last. I've been like so ready for this game, and I finished it, and I feel like a bit like the way I felt when I finished God of War, where you're almost like, I'm playing other stuff now, stuff I can't talk about yet. And it's good stuff. That's not breaking embargo because I haven't said what it is. But it sort of it's not everything. I don't even think I can say that. That would be a bit embargo breaking. Again, we'll talk off podcast. But there's things I'm doing. So in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, it's an RPG. It's a turn-based RPG, and it does that thing that games like South Park, Fractured But Whole, and all that. You know, the other modern RPGs do, where you time button presses to defend. Mm-hmm. And I've found myself doing that in other games now, realizing that doesn't happen in these games because it isn't. It isn't.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But like this game is, the scope of this game is utterly crazy to me. It is so enormous. It sort of almost feels like they won't make another one. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of scale where you're like, are you saying goodbye to us? Because, but then maybe they will give the series a rest because they've got the Judgment games, and then maybe they will try and make the Judgment games. You know what I mean? Like, I think so big.
It's really interesting. I think. I mean, I've not played a lot of it. Right, but I've heard quite a lot about it from various people, yourself included, about how massive it is and all that sort of stuff and what's involved. I think what's really interesting is the fact that the man who erased his name came out so quickly before this as an example of a much shorter execution of this type of. I know it's not exactly the same type of game. It's like a Kiryu game versus a Kasuga game, and it's not turn-based, but it is, and all that sort of stuff. But I guess my point I'm making is that I guess maybe they are demonstrating that they can still do a Like a Dragon / Yakuza, whatever you want to call it, game.
Yeah.
That can serve a purpose that doesn't have to be even more
80 hours
than Infinite Wealth, because I feel like you do get to a point surely where you go, can't make it even fucking bigger.
Yeah, enough's enough. Like
exactly. There's God knows how many hours potential in here outside of the mainline stuff.
Well, this is the thing I want to talk about. Like, genuinely, I'm not exaggerating when I say this game is like, so you've got a Like a Dragon game, like a Dragon game that came before it, Yakuza 7. There's 3 other games within this game. Like, there is it's called Sujimon, which, again, if you play Like a Dragon, you'll know what Sujimon is. It's their kind of...
Oh, it's like Power World.
Yeah, but like...
Check me out being all great.
So good.
But they...
But they like... throwing him. I'm so happy.
No, it's just funny. They've put a Pokemon game in Like a Dragon, but they kind of did a bit of that in the last one, and this one there's full-on gym leaders and badges. They're not called badges. They're not called gym leaders. So, there's all that is in here. There are Suji stops where you go up to them and you can buy stuff from the Suji shop, and there's like the gacha pinball spin things that you put a coin. There's like gacha. I forget what these ones are called. There might be Suji stops, and actually, you might be thinking of a different one. There's 2 different Suji things, and one of them is you put your Suji tickets in and spin it, and you get random Sujimon out of it, like for your Sujimon dossier or Sujidex.
Sujidex,
which is what it's called, by the way, as Sujidex. And like, if I don't even want to spoil that, but if you finish the first gym, you unlock a job for Kasuga that would otherwise not be usable. And that's over there, and you can spend a lot of time on that. And you can go into the Sujimon menu, and there's it will show you where all the trainers are that you can go and fight. It will show you the Suji stops. There are Sujimon raids where you can go up to them, like in Pokemon Go, and there are loads of Sujimon Pokemon around the raid. That's how you can get new powerful Sujimon. I've said that word too many times now; it's losing meaning. But that's all there, right? So that's this huge thing that unlocks. Then you unlock Dondoko Island, which is essentially... Everyone's calling it Animal Crossing. I think it's part Animal Crossing, part Stardew Valley, because it incorporates things like stamina and combat, which obviously is not in Animal Crossing. But this is an enormous... And it's separate. Dondoko Island is an island that you go to as part of the story, and it sort of forces you to play it for about an hour-ish, and then you can choose to carry on or just go back to the Hawaii and get on with whatever you were doing. But it's ridiculous. Like it's a full-on. It is a full-on game within a game. Like, you are running around now as Ichiban, like kitting out your island, inviting residents to come. There is a character that I showed you, Lyle, didn't I? The red guy.
The red guy from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I mean, someone totally different who isn't.
Oh,
exactly
definitely.
that.
But then they're not Pokemon. They're Sujimon. So
Yeah.
But like it's massive. Like it's massive in a way. It's not like GTA style massive. It's different, right? Because the actual map, like the real estate that you can travel in these games, is never really enormous. They're actually reasonably small for open world games, but it's the amount they pack into the spaces. And yeah, no, you can't go in every single door and every single shop, but the ones you can go in matter. You will go
quite
to
a lot of them as well.
There is a lot of them. Yeah, I'm not saying there's not, but there's a whole social network thing in this game where you just go around pressing on Xbox controller, it'd be X, and he says hello in Japanese, and you add them to your roster. There's
not always in Japanese for the weird people who play it in English.
There's fishing, there's baseball, there's you can just go swimming in the sea and pick up litter. There is a full-on labyrinth style. They call them, one's called Hawaiian Haunt, and it's basically a dungeon you go in and you uncover the map as you go. It's randomly generated each time. You go floors, each one at a time. As you get down the floors, they get progressively difficult. There's a boss at the end. You get items from it and a currency like discs that you can then spend on that vendor only, and even the swimming stuff. Like I say about picking up tins, and that's not. I don't want to play a life sim. No, but actually, if you go around clearing the ocean of tins and stuff, there's a vendor who will trade them for like recycle points, and like that sort of thing is just utterly crazy. It's just, yeah, I can't get over how enormous this game is. And it's, yeah, I mean, I never really want to go on about, oh, this game is so big. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter if they don't pack it with like good stuff. I'm floored by like there's so much in here, man. The story alone is epic, and I hate that word. We all know that I don't like that word, but it just goes and it goes. And there's not many developers that can get away with doing what they do. Actually, like, I think that we were talking in Discord about it, and I think like Kojima is someone who gets away with that kind of the real serious po-facedness and like a bit of humor in there. There's not many that get away with that, but they've built up so much credit in the bank, I think, with their style of game.
It's just like I've only played like the opening hour, right? But that's not because I don't want to play it. It's because of other games and stuff. But like, I messaged you, Adam, as I was playing it. It's that because the game starts with a very, very serious set of events, like very serious. So you're like, okay, and then it just completely flips on its ass to like the traditional sort of like camp, quirky, overacting shit with like a jazz melody, and I'm like, I'm all here for this. Like I just love the way that it can flip like that and keep you grabbed for the whole of it. Like if it suddenly goes, I'm going to be serious, it does those bits well. We've talked about like other games in the series that have managed to do that really well. But it also is just so delightful when it goes the other way, where it's just like
I will say I am intrigued.
Is like, what's that? Sorry,
I will say I'm intrigued because obviously you haven't seen it yet, but there are some scenes where I don't think this would work if you're playing it with the English voice actors. I'd be really interested because I play Japanese, but it's like every little thing that they do is the most dramatic up to 11. Well, it's anime, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah, it is, exactly. It's like even in the opening hour, it's like, oh my God, she said no. And you guys will know what that means. And it's like, but she said yes. And then he does all this shit. And you're just like, I don't know how you play it in English because I think it loses something. And I just fucking love it all because it just makes me smile.
But there's also a bit of weirdness there because, I know that they have, obviously they've been giving the option to have the English dub for a long time now. Yeah. But like a big part of the story, very early story, is that Ichiban is a Japanese person in Hawaii and he does not speak English at all.
Yeah. And
there are scenes where he will literally say, I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds aggressive. If you've spent, say, 20 hours playing as an English-speaking character, even though he's like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'll let you know when I get there with my really English voice acting.
I also think you've picked the bad game to choose the English actor because I'm not having a go at them. But I have seen some of it, and maybe I've just been playing the Japanese dub for too long. But there are some where I heard them, and I'm like, oh no. But then RGG must be happy with that.
Not my Ichiban.
Yeah,
it's Kiryu that's the issue.
I mean, for me, I can't imagine that's going to matter as my first foray into this series, other than true. I think 1 hour of Yakuza 0 at a very bad time where it didn't really make sense to carry on. But yeah, this is my first Like a Dragon / Yakuza game, and I've played all of 5 hours. So
there you go.
There we go. It's really, really good, isn't it?
It's great, isn't it?
It's
good,
just this great. Series, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've not got to Hawaii yet. As a,
I look forward to 5 more hours till I get there.
This is the thing, right? They've spoiled quite a lot in their trailers and shit, but because I knew that I'm going to be playing this, I'll be doing guides for this or playing it for some reason, I could not watch a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird to me what they've spoiled. Like they've full on released like character trailers for every party member. I hadn't watched them, so when some of them showed up, it was really like, And there's stuff in some of the trailers where if you're a big Yakuza Like a Dragon fan, you'll go, oh, I know what that means. I'm really surprised by that, because it's almost like they've done all that, going, yeah, but Hawaii's all brand new, and you've been asking for a new setting for years, so like here's the new thing, so bollocks to everything. It's really weird. So did you know going in that you didn't start in Hawaii? Because I didn't.
I didn't know. No, I
played it and I'm like,
no,
what?
No. I, having played The Man Who Erased His Name as well,
which is
yeah. I very much thought I thought there might be an intro, but when I'd start controlling would be in Hawaii. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And that is not what happened.
No, it isn't.
No. Yeah, I mean, there is, at least for me, has been about 5 hours before then. And I think I'm pretty close. It feels like in the story, I'm at the point where, like, if I went towards it, there'd be, like, a decent amount of cutscenes, maybe another bit at a push. But, like, I'm practically at Hawaii now.
Practically on the plane.
Yeah, like, pretty much. But at the same time, I don't know if, by the same token, you could maybe want to do loads more in the decent-sized area in Japan.
So I would, without spoiling anything, my recommendation would be get to Chapter 3, which is when you get to Hawaii, and I would suggest don't worry about all the stuff in Japan too much. Just do what you want to do, and then just push the story on and get there. And I'll say no more than that, because there's no need to. You might very much feel like, oh, but there's all this substantial map.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust me, is all I'd say.
Yeah.
Just play on it and get yourself to Hawaii. Because once you
get out of the hinterlands,
kinda, because there is a lot of all of us. Like, you will have not experienced jobs that you can change jobs. You will not experience. There's an awful lot you can't do, and I mean, like the Sujimon stuff doesn't unlock until you get to Hawaii. The Dondoko Island, I think, is Chapter 6 when it unlocks. Like these are things that you just will not see unless you push the story along.
Yeah.
Because a lot's been made of the New Game Plus stuff. I've been seeing some of that on Reddit and stuff about people are angry about that, and I'm a little bit torn on that, because it is a weird thing to lock behind DLC. Right? I will concede that, but also having finished it, there's no part of me that's like, I want to start again.
Well, this is the weird thing for me, because I remember speaking to you about it, Adam, because I missed the first time this became a story a while ago, and I was like, it is weird. But I also don't care, because I won't play another 50 hours.
No, and I respect that some people might. I do respect that. But what I would also say is that, like, they do allow you, when you finish, like most open world games, to come back to a save and continue doing stuff.
So it's not like you're locked into it.
No, and what I would add to that is that, because I do think this game has a fairly slow start. Like, you mentioned you're not in Hawaii yet, Lyle. Like, you have controlled characters and you will have had fights, but you will have also seen a lot of cutscenes, right?
Oh, yes. I definitely
because it's deliberate. It doesn't really let you off the reins until you reach Hawaii, and then you really do become a bit more in control. It's a long game, that you might think, oh, bloody hell, 5 hours of cutscenes and not much else. Like, you're talking an 80-hour, 60-hour, 100-hour, whatever you want game. So it's not like you're going to miss out on gameplay. You just, it's a slow burn in that respect. So like the fact of starting again, even in New Game Plus, I felt like that would actually be more restrictive to me, because right now I've got a save where everything is open to me and I can do whatever I want. Yeah. Whereas if I go back into New Game Plus, yes, I keep all my weapons and all the stuff you keep with New Game Plus, but I am now going to be back to that restricted state of I have to go here and here and here, and this hasn't unlocked yet. And so I get it. I get the complaint.
It's hard to imagine there being so few games that what you would want to do with your gaming time is restart a game where there is too much to do in your first playthrough, I guess. You know what I mean?
This isn't a game like you mentioned, like Lil Guardsman's choices. This isn't a game where the choices change the story. The story's the story. The cutscenes is the cutscenes. I don't want it to become precedent. I think it's a bad precedent. It is weird. Like, there's no question about that. It is weird. I don't like it. But I also find it a little bit difficult to be cross about it, because of what I've played. I will be going back to this when I get some time to do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I've played of it, just shy of 60 hours to see credits for me, it's one of those where I feel like it is just such a special game. It's one of those where when I finished it and I stopped and like I was properly like, telly's off, blah, 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 I'm sitting down thinking about this and thinking, this could be a game that eases into my top 10. Like, do you know what I mean? Of all time, not of the year. It's that big of a game. It's that, we've all had a game that we loved reviewing, and you sit down, and the way we do things is you have positives and negatives, because you like to, even with a 10 out of 10, you've got to have a bit of balance. And we've all had that game where you sit down and you go, what the fuck do I put in the negative column?
What's the negative? Yeah.
And you have to really find something, like really. And I could tell without him telling me, Chris's negative for his review was some of the cutscenes are very long. Now, he doesn't really think that's a negative, I suspect. Although, it can be, some of them are a bit too long. But, like, that's just what it is. Mm-hmm. Like, that is not...
It's one of those things where you put a negative and you're like, some people won't like this, and I can think it's the negative.
Which is the purpose of reviews sometimes, isn't it? Like, let's be clear, to inform everybody.
Like, we've never put a review up that has nothing in the negatives column, even for 10 out of 10s, because that would imply perfection. But to be honest with you, I think if I'd have let him, he would have. I think that this is kind of a perfect game for Chris. I can't... And I'll be honest with you, I can't... Difficult. Because if I would be the one who could say I'm putting nothing in this column and nobody could change that, do you know what I mean? But I would try, but I'd struggle, because it's everything I wanted and more. Like, there were moments in the story where I thought, don't do that, and they didn't. There were moments where I thought, if you do that, that would be the worst thing you could do, and they didn't do it. They love their characters as much as we fans of these games love their characters.
This is what I'm worried about. That's the only thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not saying anything about the story.
No, please don't.
No. I'm not going to.
Punch you in the dick if you do, but like,
I'd love to do a spoiler cast on this game, but like that might have to be this time next year when everyone's finished. But they, what I mean is, they love their characters. They love their characters. They know what they're doing. I know it sounds really silly, but they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with their side stuff, their content. They know when to swing from the. Luke, I am your father, to the, hey, there are enemies that, like, the flashing max, like the old, and they jump up and they hover up in the air and they're flashing you. You don't see it. But that's the other thing. While they have done some of that stuff in the past where there's, like, you go to cabaret clubs and there's, getting your hostess, I thought this one, unless I missed a lot of that content, I thought they dialed that back a little bit. Which was interesting to me, because I just think that they're maturing, maybe. But like, I've barely scratched the surface of what there is in this game, man. I don't, it's just so enormous. Where do you even start? The story delivered for me. It made me laugh. It made me cry. Like it really.
Shit.
No, there's moments in it, and I'm not going to obviously mention them or describe them.
I know.
But there are moments where, like, they really like have you by the balls, and they've got you emotionally, like, oh my god, and then they make you laugh, and you're like, you bastards, but in a good way, you're playing with me, but it's masterful. It's like the best storytelling in the way that they know what they're doing. They know that you're on the edge. They're about to pull you, and most people would keep going and. Let's do this horrible thing, and they're going to cry. But then they like pull it back and do something silly, and you're laughing at them. And it's there's not too many games I can think of that did that. Like, I honestly, I was talking to my wife about this, right? Because I've played so many of these games, I don't understand. Either I'm thick as shit. Should I not have picked up some Japanese by now?
No, you don't. Yeah, it was so funny. What was it? Because I thought this because I've played it. Mano raised his name quite recently, and I was like,
"That's what I mean."
The only thing I know is like,
thank you.
What's that?
Thank you. Did you thank you?
Is arigato, isn't it?
No, right? Like yeah, arigato yakimasu. I think it is. But that's probably a butchered pronunciation. Tomodachi is friend, but I knew that because they were.
I know Yatta because he does that.
Life.
But I knew that from Street Fighter.
How have I picked up so little? Like, this game alone was 60 hours for me.
yeah.
How none of it gone in?
Do you think I should be fluent?
Might as well just play it in English, hadn't you?
Yeah.
But because my wife even said, like, there was a load of noise going on, like the blender was going in the kitchen, she was sat me, and it was quite a pivotal scene, and I was just like, she goes, "You're not listening to it anyway, you're reading it." And I was like, fucking got me there, aren't you? You got me there. But like, I am, because I find the voice acting tremendous as well.
The voice acting is great, even if it's properly overacted, but it's great because it's just the right side of camp, and it's just I just want to play more of it. Like
man,
I love these games. I've loved,
there's moments for characters that they properly earn, and it's like, wow, you love even the new ones, even the new characters. They have their like these moments. You love these characters. There's no maybe I'm a mark, I don't know, but there's no part when I'm playing them where I suspect anything other than you actually like doing this. Like there's no, you know what I mean? There never feels any cynicism to it. It just feels so like I love it. I don't know whether it's one of those where, like with God of War, like with some of the GTA stuff, where you go, where the hell do you go next? Mm-hmm. Where do you go next? And I'm loving seeing people enjoy it and happy and scoring it high. I really want other people, because only me and Chris White have finished it, and that's fair. It's a big game. I just really want you two to sort of see some of the stuff, if that makes sense.
I think we feel the same way, to be fair. Yeah.
To be really clear, it's not through.
No, I know that's what I mean, though. But that's what I mean. I really want. We've all only got so much time.
I know, like
no, but I'm telling you now, and I don't care about saying this in January on the first pod that I've rocked onto. I don't care, right? Because I've seen the fucking listener correspondence, so I know what's coming, right? But like, I don't care. This game is going to get finished easily, and if you want to do a spoiler cast in September, fine, we'll fucking do it.
I wouldn't be against it.
Like, there's not a chance I'm not playing this game at least 70 hours, at least. It's not that I even want to see, like, because Lyle, for example, is your first, like you say. Yeah. It's not that I'm like, oh, you have to see the story, you have to see the end, because it won't have the. It will definitely have emotional impact. It's not going to have the emotional impact it has for me, for Chris White. Mm-hmm. There's just stuff in here mechanically. I really want you to see the Animal Crossing and the Pokemon. Like, I think that's all doable. If you didn't finish it, it would be gutting, but I would understand it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. This is the thing. Like, I have to remember. I have to force myself to remember. Last year was the awful year in terms of there's so many games, and I still put like 90 hours into Tears of the Kingdom. This is the thing. It's fine if they're, and this is why I put utmost confidence that I will do this, because it's not a hard game to play. Do you know what I mean? When I
didn't mention that, by the way. I should have mentioned that the first game, the first Like a Dragon, the first turn-based RPG Yakuza game had a few difficulty spikes in it that were not great, and this one I didn't notice that at all. Now, whether I just played it in a manner that I found myself over-leveled or what, but you can do that. And the movement. I could just talk forever about this. And
I need to stop picking up herbs. That's what I need to stop doing. Like,
it is also a game, I will say for you, Chris, that is going to be a problem, because there's shit everywhere. But I think it respawns some of that stuff, like the briefcases. Adam and
I was like, I've been playing as Ichiban for 30 seconds and I've picked up 3 briefcases, and he was like, stop doing it. I was like, I can't. It's shining. It's winking at me.
I can't think.
I'd read your review. Sorry, listened to it, the video one. I hadn't watched, right?
Yeah, I got you.
And because there's a whole crafting shit going on that we haven't even talked about. And I was like, and then I suddenly started picking up herbs and shit, and I was like, oh my god, there's more rabbit holes down here. It's not just picking up plates in briefcases. It's fucking herbs. It used to be. Now it's bits of twig and shit that I'm going to end up
seaweed and special seaweed.
Like, but if I see a bush that's got 3 sparkly things in it, I've got to go into the bush.
But what I like about this, what they do, is that you can. Do you know when they started doing this with like Horizons, a game they did it with, where you can sort of just run around spamming the button and you just.
Yeah,
you can. You don't have to like stop, pick it up. You just run around.
I can't hold it, but I can spam
but it's
it.
as good as.
That's good enough. Yeah.
No, there is. Yeah,
God, I can't spend so long on it.
I don't think there is. Don't hold me to this, but I don't think there is anything you can miss by just going, I'm going to push the story on a couple of chapters.
That doesn't matter to him.
Oh, yeah, good point.
No, to be fair, I'm not like... I haven't got to the point where I'm like, I have to go to every corner of the map yet. It's more like, follow this purple arrow to go to work. Yes. And on the way to work...
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'd recommend doing that, because you'll end up with loads of items without having to buy them.
Yeah,
but what I would say is...
To never use in fights.
Yeah, to never use. Although I did actually in this one. Again, I think that difficulty's balanced well. What I would say is do try and push yourself into the story.
Yeah,
because actually you'll see, like on the menu when you hit start, there's a lot of question marks. And you won't unlock them unless you push into the story.
There's more than ever. And I know it's because my latest friend references the man who raised his name, where there's about 5.
Yeah.
But there's like all down the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
Like, not unlocked,
No,
not unlocked,
you
not
like
unlocked.
you know, like I say, you won't be able to do Dondaiku Island unless you progress the story. It initially is part of the story. The Sujimon stuff, you won't be able to do it unless you push into the story. You have to quite deep to unlock everything, but not like silly. But but let's do some listener correspondence, because I suspect this is a game we're going to be coming back to, and
I would like to talk about it again when
you've reached
Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'll play the jingle.
Listener correspondence. It's time. It's time. Chris Hyde. Okie dokie then. So my first one of the year. I know you've been blaspheming without me, but Mikhail's
it was a hard decision, mate.
I know. Well, I noticed last week you just went into it with absolutely no fanfare to say, well, he's not here, but we'll do it. He just went,
no, that might be because we had an awful lot of technical issues, and it was just I think I need a point to edit this podcast together. So if I just play the jingle, I genuinely feel bad, and I'm like, should I play the jingle or should we just do the listener correspondence without it as a sign of it? Do you know, like when at the end of a TV show when they just it's a black screen and they just give
black screen.
You know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah, in memory.
Yeah,
This
kind of like,
episode is
just a sign of
dedicated
respect.
to.
Yeah, I could have done that. But anyway, you're here now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so Mikhail's setting questions for all of us. So Adam, I'll start with yours.
Okay.
So, kind of already touched on this. He says, congrats on finishing the 2024 Game of the Year already. How did it feel?
Right, he's joking, obviously, because we're in January. You can't call Game of the Year in January. I have the same feeling I had when I had played Tears of the Kingdom, where I was like, there's no way. There's just no way.
So it's your number 2.
Well,
so overall, what on the site 6? 7,
yeah,
like
overall.
Hey, spoilers! Make them listen to 18 hours. We had to record it. Don't give away. But no, it is that same feeling where I finish it like something's going to have to come along. But that's not impossible. I knew Sea of Stars was coming, but I did not think it would beat Tears of the Kingdom for me.
Yeah, and
now I'm spoiling it. Fuck, go and listen.
The exciting thing about it is if you go, this isn't in my top 5 in the end of the year. What a fucking year it's going to be.
If this isn't in my top 5 at the end of the year, God, 2023, move along, son.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, how does it feel? I'm just
super smashing great.
Just feel great that I've got it. It's done. I can go back now and play for fun. Like I don't have to be like I'm going to never.
Yeah,
someone's going to spoil this for me.
Slog through it.
Yeah, it's such an awful thing.
God damn it! I hate this shit.
Bloody free games.
Interesting question, without spoiling anything, please. Do you think they'll continue with the same cast in Yakuza 9?
So I think he's thinking about the English cast, though. I think he's referring to that. Because they did change some of the cast members for this game. Like, Kiryu's a different voice actor in this game.
Oh, the voice acting cast. Yeah, okay.
So I that's what Ishimi means. I mean... Oh, now I'm thinking. I don't really want to... Because I don't want to allude to anything.
No,
I'd rather just... It's not out at the time we're recording this. It's out like in a few hours. So I mean... I'd hope they wouldn't change any voice actors or anything. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know what he's 100% getting at there. So
no, I mean, what I imagine, having no idea about what happens in the story, is what they normally do is they'll bring back some loose ends from previous games to become important, and then people that are not dead may appear in the game. There we go. And only if you've seen them die uncategorically.
On screen. Anyway. What was the TV show that used to do that? Like, we didn't see him die on screen, so they'd probably...
Game of Thrones did it a few times, didn't they?
It might be Game of Thrones.
It wasn't that. They didn't do it first, but it became a thing on Game of Thrones.
It might be Game of Thrones.
I didn't see him die, so they could still be alive.
You have to see it on screen and have it... Yeah. I don't know is the answer.
You don't? Are you going to review any arcade or any arcade controller or stick for Tekken 8?
No, I'd have to play Tekken 8
I still can't
first.
say Tekken 8 without thinking it's like a one word.
Tekken 8.
Like, I'm going to go and Tekken 8 this. Sorry, carry on. Right.
I don't want to know what that
video
means.
Yeah, that's weird. But I'll go. No, is the answer. I wouldn't have minded, and I would in any other year. But like this is, I keep saying it. Lyle, we talked about it the last 2 weeks. I've never seen a January like this, and if this is
it's insane.
If this is the kind of touch paper lit this early, then fuck.
I'm so scared for where my Like a Dragon time's going
literally.
come from.
I've never sat in January and gone, have I got a backlog this long already
of games that aren't out yet?
Yeah, and we're going to talk. There's one that's in the questions in a minute that we haven't even talked about. That's like one I want to get into as well. His next question is: with Switch generation nearly over, was there any game you hoped would get better post-launch support / DLC that didn't?
That is a very difficult question.
Yeah.
Because I think they did support like all the sport. I go to the Mario sports games, golf, the tennis, strikers, but they all did. Like I think golf got free courses, strikers got new characters, tennis definitely got something.
Mario Kart definitely got stuff.
Mario Kart,
Oh yeah,
Christ.
yeah, I reckon so. Just a little bit.
It's probably too early. But Pikmin might maybe still get something at a later date. I mean,
Pikmin 4, you mean?
Yeah, like would they? I can't think. No, I really can't think of one. I mean, you know, Xenoblade DLC. We've talked about that numerous times. Bayonetta, like, yeah, Bayonetta's not them, but like it got Bayonetta Origins, which was, I know it's not post-launch support or DLC. I've been asked a few times actually off podcast about like Tears of the Kingdom, will that get DLC? And I think they've said they're not doing that. I don't think they need to. Like, I can't.
Because I was kind of thinking, would people have wanted more of like Mario Odyssey as getting something? Because at the same time,
they did add that Luigi's balloon thing. I know it's not the same. Was it Luigi's balloon or just balloon thing where you can hide balloons?
Yeah.
I remember.
I think people thought that was a placeholder for something else later, and then the later never.
I wish you hadn't said that. Now I want to go and play that game.
Well, it's been a couple of years for you. You do it every so often, though, don't you?
And normally, when you play stuff, we get a game related to that game again. So
I'll play it then.
Play it.
Yep, no deal.
Yeah,
deal.
Thank you.
Deal. Yep.
Get on it, please.
Yes.
Yep.
Any game you're excited to play from Feb or March that you wish you could play
list
right now? And as he says that, because it's an open question to all of us, I'm opening the very reliable...
I should probably do that too. Actually,
it's tricky. Yes, but I think it's the obvious one, and everyone. I don't want to take it.
Does that mean it's Final Fantasy?
Yeah, like
I'll take Dragon's Dogma 2 then. That's March, isn't it?
That's
March.
fine.
Technically, I played that because I previewed it. No, I'm just saying we both. I actually have. I feel like I'm cheating if I say that. And also, do you know what, Lyle? You can have Final Fantasy if you'd like. I've got another one.
Okay, thanks for Final Fantasy. I guess I'm reviewing it now, right?
Fine.
Yes, it's live, mate. It's recorded. That's definitely nailed on.
Sure, as long as you can beat Mick in a fist fight to the death.
Okay.
It's not easy, mate. That's why I'm not reviewing it. You know, the man's scary when he gets angry. No, we haven't got that far yet. We don't have Final Fantasy. For anyone who's going to get angry, this is you're not going to expect this answer.
Okay.
You're going to say Peaches.
No, although I really want to play that. Like, I want to know what that is. That would probably be my... If we're taking Final Fantasy out, that's probably number 2. Yeah. I really want to know what that South Park game's like.
I just think it's going to be shit, but
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine because I'm going to play most of them. We all are. But like, if I could play it right now, the one I have the most questions about, I think, is what I'm is that and Peach, because the new
I have
the
a
new
lot
Peach
of questions
trailer.
about Dragon's Dogma 2 that I want.
Yeah, but I think you know what game that is.
I'm going to be calling up Chimera's arsehole. I'm well aware.
Right, you know, Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles looks great. We know what kind of game it is. Alone in the Dark. That would be up there because I just want to see how they've executed it.
Yeah, no, I assume that's going to be awful, but it could be great.
Really? I don't think it is. I don't think you can delay a game 2-3 times and then still...
And it's got Hopper in from
that's
Things.
Great.
That's true. I'd forgotten that. That's true. Yeah, therefore, nailed on.
Yeah.
What about Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons remake? I know it's a remake, but that game was really good, and it was one of those you don't really feel... How do you remake that and keep... I'm not going to spoil, but the impactful nature of how that finishes when you know it's coming. I mean, it always reminds me of like Titanic. You watch that movie, you know how it's going to end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's only one way that it's end, and if it doesn't end that way, you're like, fucking hell, lads.
That'd be great.
That'd be a weird. It's a bit like, you know, Final Fantasy VII. Like I guess they have to. Do they have to do that? Do they have to sort of snake their way through to the same conclusion-ish, but also then divert? But yeah,
no, just literally the same.
Well, I think it's probably got to be, hasn't it? I mean...
You think so?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to say South Park Snow Day because it just intrigues the hell out of me. That and Princess Peach. Like, I saw and posted about the new trailer for Princess Peach Showtime, and I'm still not 100% sure what kind of game it is.
I watched that.
It looks really cool, that trailer.
I still don't know what this game is.
Is it a platformer? Right, is it side-scrolling? Is it, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just get the vibe that it's, like, not mini-games, but, like, I don't know, but, like, my daughter's going to love it, so we'll get it. But, like, I was like, I thought it would show me what the game is about, and it was just, I still have no idea. No,
it just recapped like her version of like getting a flower or whatever.
It was weird. That trailer, it felt like that was the trailer that they'd have shown after they'd shown us what sort of game it was. And that felt like the third or fourth trailer. And
we know what the game is, but here's some new like suits or powers or whatever, and it's like, I have no idea what the context for any of this is.
Maybe they just like clicked the wrong button to put the wrong video live or something. Maybe that's
Trailer 4 live.
I'd like to think it would be really good, because it's a sort of game where I imagine there's a lot of people who have waited a very long time for Princess Peach to start in a video game. It is like we've had Mario, and I'm not Jesus Christ, I'm not getting into this, but because I love Mario games, but I watched that trailer, and the first person who came to my mind was your daughter.
Well, this is the thing. So I'm not trying to make it all about me and my family, but like the Mario movie is a thing, right? And obviously,
yes,
Peach is portrayed in that film. Spoilers, as you know,
she's a co-star. Like, it's a Mario movie, but she's a co-star.
What's that?
She's the co-star. I wouldn't even say.
Exactly,
I would say they are joint
it
headliners.
It's like the Mario and Peach movie, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is 100%.
So like, then having a game makes complete sense.
Absolutely.
So it can't be this throwaway thing just to fill in before we have Mario Odyssey 2 at the end of the year. So I kind of feel like it therefore is going to be good and great. And
that's what I'm getting at. I feel like they must have the internal pressure to be like, people have waited a long time for this. This has to be good. I mean, I'm all for it, and I'm all for them then doing like Daisy, and I mean, we had Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. Like, I'm all for them doing every character in that game. Like, you know,
Birdo game. Shit,
yeah. So yeah, that and South Park for me. You guys, so you taking Final Fantasy, Lyle?
Yeah, I'll take Final Fantasy. Sure, I'm very, very excited about that.
1 month to go.
1 month to go. That's fucking wild. Get Yakuza done by then, lads.
Well, this is the thing. I was like, I'll replay the first one beforehand.
No, that's not.
And I'm like, no, I can't. So it's like, whatever.
I wanted to do the same, but it's not happening, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really intrigued to see where that goes, because obviously it's the second part of the remake of an old game where they kind of ended up changing quite a few things, and it kind of feels like that game could almost be anything at this point in some ways. And yeah, really excited for that. I'm also going to give a shout out to Islands of Insight. I'm really excited to play, which is like a kind of like the closest thing that we've had since The Witness in like a sort of open world puzzly game, but it also has a bit of exploration, and it's sort of also online, so there's other players doing puzzles at the same time with you. And yeah, I previewed it and thought it was really cool, and I think that's a game that I could get very lost in, just doing like puzzles in a weird magical world. So yeah,
fair enough. And Chris, you're taking Dragon's Dogma, you said, which is fine.
Oh, thank you for permitting me that.
No, I think it's just one of those where enough said. Do you know what I mean? It's what was the game? Alan. It's a lot of people's Alan Wake 2. It's the game you thought you were never going to get.
I didn't think. Yeah, you go enough times past. You're just like,
they've forgotten that it's not going to make money. They're making remakes of all these games.
And also, it's the game that's like, it's like, ironically, the 1,000-Year Door remake. It's the thing that get rumored every year that never happens.
Well, what was the Capcom game? Was it Deep Down? Is that what people thought it was?
Deep Down, everyone was like, well, that's
it's Dragon's Dogma.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, that's right.
It was that, because it looked a bit the same, and everyone was like, yeah, that's it. That's the spiritual successor. Whatever happened to that?
I don't know.
But yes, it was that you're right, because that came out, that was trailered like a few years after.
Yeah, that was a while ago now as well. Yeah. That was like at the start of this generation, I think. Huh. Yeah, that's it. Lyle's questions now.
Right, Lyle's questions. Right. Give me a moment to breathe in for this. Given how good the Apollo Justice Collection was, review on God as a Geek, and also discussed earlier in this podcast, what do you think they will need to do for an Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, barring localizing, I'm assuming, Investigations 2 for the first time, to make it worth £50?
That's like
There
the
we go.
most niche question
I know.
ever
I was
been
like,
asked.
I think I'm asking this in the right way.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer?
Sure, I'll give it a go. I've not played any of the Ace Attorney Investigations games, so I don't know how to answer this necessarily. For me, it would probably be worth it because I love the series and I haven't played the first one. I think for a lot of people, there being a game that hasn't been localized would mean that it was worth buying a collection for. Now that there's a lot of these things out, I mean, I guess the being worth 50 quid thing is kind of like a key part of the question, but that means different things for different people.
Sounds like you're saying he's a very hard to please person, but
yeah, he is. He always has been.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those where like if I wasn't going to be reviewing it if it came along, but I think I probably would be.
A hypothetical game we don't know
a
exists.
hypothetical game that we don't know exists. I assume that if that game was sprung into existence, it'd be me that was reviewing it. But if it wasn't, I mean, I really like the idea of having all the games in that series in one collection. And I mean, if I didn't want to pay £50 immediately when it launched, it would go on sale at some point. So I'd just wait for that, a person would.
All this talk about Ace Attorney and the collections and HDs and all it's really made me like sit here and think, I would love a Professor Layton HD collection.
Yeah, they're great games.
Yeah.
And I'm also now sat again, why didn't that happen?
It's a weird one, to be honest.
Why it's
on Switch.
They've done this first. Like, I know this is popular, but like you say, Layton was just fucking.
But that's level 5, isn't it? And level 5 basically just delayed all of their games that were all due out. Oh shit, would it be last year or this year now? But they've been delayed like a year.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not the question. So this next question, by the way, before you ask him it, I think this is cruel. I think this is a cruel question. And I'm
let's do it.
Really interested to see the answer. So sorry, Chris.
Let's go.
Especially given your answers to previous questions, if you could play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Metaphor ReFantasia right now, which would you pick?
That is a really interesting question because they are the two big budget, massive RPGs that I'm most excited for sure. And I mean, when I did a little most anticipated thing on social media recently, I did put Final Fantasy higher than Metaphor ReFantasio, and I think a lot of that really is that I kind of know that Final Fantasy Rebirth is going to be like in terms of combat, I assume like a few things will have been upgraded or there'll be a few new mechanics or something like that. But I kind of feel like I know how that game's going to play, probably.
I feel like Metaphor ReFantasia would be like Persona E, Shin Megami Tensei E.
Probably, yeah. I assume so. But we don't really know a whole lot about that game. Like, it's just one of those games. Like, it had its sort of big sort of release date trailer where it showed off the most stuff was at the Game Awards, and even that was just you sort of see some demon-y things floating about and some spells slinging about. But if it's like the new big franchise from the Persona studio, there's also no saying that they'd want to do it differently. I mean, fucking look at Final Fantasy 16 compared to all the Final Fantasy games. Like, I don't know. I think there's a very, very strong chance that both of these games could end up being in my top 10 this year.
I think that's likely, yeah.
I think there's a good chance of that.
I keep forgetting about Metaphor. I keep forgetting it exists. I don't think it's a great video game name.
Oh no, it's not.
And I think whenever I see it, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, Atlas.
Yeah. It's not as snappy as Persona, where you can just go, okay, no, that's fine.
But then I sort of also just referenced Shin Megami Tensei, which I guess that's just because I know it, if you know what I mean.
And you also said Shin Megami Tensei E, which I thought was very good.
Did I?
Yeah, because you were saying it's like Shin Megami Tensei.
Oh, I did, yeah. I'm never going to manage that again. So
that's good. If I'm picking one, I think I'm saying Final Fantasy. But on any day, I could change my mind on that.
I just wondered if you'd change purely because Final Fantasy VII is a bit closer. So now,
I mean,
like you got a month to wait. Metaphor, not so much.
Yeah, actually, given that they have different times to them, I'll say Metaphor because then I'm not waiting. Like if I've got that for some reason in 2 months, January, and everyone else has to wait till like November or whatever. Sure.
Yeah, there's no chance that any company will put out like two absolutely massive JRPGs right next to one another, would they?
No,
especially like a company that owns both of them. That would be just
no. That would be weird if like a company, like a big company, like I don't know, like Sega or something, had
Yeah.
2 really really long games.
Wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen.
No, that wouldn't happen at all. More on that next week, maybe. I can't work out the time frame.
I don't know what you're possibly referring to. Sorry. Right, Lyle, I know you played Street Fighter 6 last year after I bugged you about it. It was all Mikhail. But will you be trying Tekken 8? Sorry, it still sounds like
Tekken 8.
Like an old person doesn't know what computers are. So it's like when you turn it on and you Tekken 8.
Sorry, you Tekken 8'd it. No, I probably not. I don't really like Tekken. I'm just going to say that outright. It's probably great, but it was always a fighting game that didn't really gel with me. And because of that, I kind of have like a weird personal grudge against it where I'm like, no, fuck Tekken. Fuck that shit. It's probably great. But,
it is, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it sounds great and I could play it. It might happen, but like, I don't know. I played like a few hours of Street Fighter last year. I didn't play any of Mortal Kombat 1 last year.
Wow.
And, you know, it's kind of hard for me to say this fighting game I'm less excited about than those two when this year already seems mad. I can't imagine I'll play it.
It's really weird because in the YouTube comments on our Like a Dragon video, there was somebody who was asking for advice whether they should play Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth or Tekken 8. And I couldn't help, like, that they couldn't be more different.
More different? Yeah. I'm like... Well, what do you want to play?
That's what somebody else asked. Like, well, you know, what sort of games do you like? And they were like, oh, I think they were like, I love JRPGs and stories. I'm like a dragon.
Like a dragon.
No, I'm not taking the piss. I don't mean to sound like I'm taking the piss because.
totally.
But you know what I mean. It was just like, is this a trick? Anyway,
I like it. Thanks for the comment. That's an interesting comment already. I love it.
I tell you what, it stimulated discussion. Loads of people were chatting about it.
So,
hell yeah.
This is actually a question for you and me, Lyle, because it's repeated later on. So, do you have any interest in Grand Blue Relink, and did you try the demo?
I didn't try the demo. I have more interest in that than Tekken 8, all one word. So there's a chance I play that, I guess. I'm not saying I'm definitely going to play that. And if I do play that, I'm not saying, you know, it will be, I'll spend 20 hours on this that I could be putting into Like a Dragon or numerous fucking review games that I also am trying to fit in. But I mean, I am more interested in that. So yeah, there's a chance. We'll see.
Yeah. So when I start talking about backlog, I haven't tried the demo, and then Adam has and said, you might like this game because it's basically Tales of Monster Hunter.
I was based on the demo and only the demo because anything else would be under embargo, obviously.
Yeah, and I was just like, that
does count.
I can. That's a clip. That I can make this easy for you both. Just play Like a Dragon, and that's not based on anything else other than I think you both will like a Dragon, like a Dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And you already started it. Like, why would you stop playing a 80-hour epic to go, I'll start another long RPG?
No, I know.
Because there's lots of them, okay?
Make it your Christmas game in 2027.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Christmas this year, is it? There's going to be bloody loads by then.
No, you might be right.
Yeah. You are right. It's...
Play Like
in any other year.
Yeah.
Do
I have to read this first bit, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Welcome back, bitch.
There we go.
I didn't
I
like
hadn't
it.
read that.
I didn't like it. Don't like it. He says then, what do you use to measure coffee before brewing?
I don't fucking use anything. So the way I work is I put the beans in the machine, and then I say to the machine, I want a full cup or anywhere in between a full cup.
Hang on. Sorry, you say to the machine.
That's okay.
Machine.
It's like Star Trek. It's like computer. No, so like on my coffee machine, there's a dial with two pictures, an empty cup and a full cup,
and you speak into the dial.
What's the empty cup for?
Well, very little coffee. It would be like an
espresso or a
so
cortado.
Like, I have it. For reference, I have it on 3/4.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. and no, sorry, I have it on full 3/4 amount of beans. Sorry, but he didn't ask that. So the machine measures it out for me, but I tell the machine, and it nicely fills the little glass coffee cups that I have. So it works. The system works. So I have the same amount every day because I don't touch the dial. And what pisses me off more than anything is if Zoe's gone in and touched the dials on my coffee machine, and then I just press the button in the morning and I get half a cup, because then I've got to start again and I've wasted some beans and she gets an earful. Go.
For God's sake. Oh, it always... Such a lovely life living with Chris Hyde.
Sorry, it really
Don't touch my coffee machine!
No, it wasn't that. It was I just wasn't expecting that she gets an earful at the end of it. Like I don't see you as like Laddie football chanty fan, and like she gets an earful. That one. It really.
Well, I didn't say that one.
No, but it caught me a little bit off guard.
Yeah.
Did you say anything like that?
Every now and then I pretend I'm hard. I ain't.
You've already answered this one partially. Will you be playing Dragon's Dogma 2?
I'll be playing both of these.
Okay.
Rise of the Ronin.
Rise of the Ronin
was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's annoying that they're all coming out at the same time, but it just looks. If it's what I think it is, both of them.
Okay.
Because that game looks great.
Didn't we answer this already? What are you looking forward to playing next month?
Shit, my game was from March, wasn't it?
Oh, God, you've got a change.
Oh, yeah.
Someone got the February list.
Not handy, but I can. February, well, Mario vs. Donkey Kong is February. I know that much.
I would say Grand Blue Reeling, because that's February, isn't it, technically? But you've just told me not to, so that's fun.
Persona 3 Reload, Suicide Squad, Foam Stars, Helldivers 2, Listvanger, The Time Shift Warrior, Islands of Insight, Tomb Raider Remastered, Skull and Bones, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Splatoon 3 DLC, Brothers of Tale of Two Sons, Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And do you know what I think?
Oh, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I think Banishers.
That's the end of the month, isn't it?
I think Banishers is February, and I've not put it on the list. That's bad of me.
I was really hoping he'd dare to say Persona. Just like, yeah, I'll fit that in.
Yeah.
Just in the side, just casually. Nah. Final Fantasy then, and then Brothers probably out of that list.
Haven't heard anything about Brothers since that announcement.
No.
Just thinking. Haven't heard any
true.
PR about it. Okay.
Lyle will try and make me play Islands of Insight, but whatever. I haven't got time.
Your last question, because you've answered the one about Grand Blue already, is how did you find the Xenoblade 3 DLC?
It was fucking brilliant.
Can we put this to bed now? Like with Like a Dragon, with Grand Blue, you're not going to play.
I'll play the Xenoblade 3 DLC after I've played Grand Blue Relink.
So 2028 then.
Yeah, I'm gutted. Yeah,
it just
play
happens,
everything.
doesn't it? You can't play everything. Yeah.
No, you can't play everything. You have to make.
You can't play anything.
I haven't played Tekken 8 yet. That to me is amazing. If I'd gone back to younger me and gone, you'll have Tekken 8 and you won't even touch it, you'd be like, what's wrong? Did you lose something? Like, yeah, part of my soul. But yeah, no, that's it. So yeah, we've got to put this to bed now. Like, if we're going to take the piss out of Chris, I'm happy for that to happen. But let's
find a new joke.
Find a new. It's 2024. New jokes.
Yeah.
I feel like you saying this is going to make him do it more, if anything.
Yeah.
I don't control what people. I don't control what people say.
Control. So McPoo asks, what are your go-to Tesco meal deal choices?
This is tough because I don't know how often I have a Tesco meal deal, in all honesty. Like, where I live, Tesco's slightly more out the way than the other supermarkets, so I'd be less likely to get a meal deal there. I guess most of the meal deals are fairly similar. But for me, I normally look for whatever has a triple sandwich instead of a double sandwich.
My son does that.
Because it's like, well, one of these I get an extra fucking half of a sandwich, don't I? That's amazing.
Just makes economic sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. I like getting a Scotch egg, you know, when you get your little snack. My snack's normally a Scotch egg, because I like a Scotch egg. And to drink, I usually get a smoothie, because they're more expensive outside of the meal deal.
Yeah. So, like, for me, I mean, I don't shop at Tesco, so if we park that bit for one second, like...
The disdain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I won't get into the whole Tesco thing, but whatever. But the meal deal thing, the only triple I ever seem to find... as like it's like all day breakfast with like egg in it. So like I never have the triple.
Shit, yeah.
So like I if I was to get a sandwich, it'd be probably something like I don't know, like chicken and bacon or chicken stuffing or something.
Is that the one that's like chickeny mayonnaise with bits of bacon in it?
Yeah,
that's the one I go for.
Yeah.
Or like good. A nice like chicken wrap or something. Or
Okay, yeah,
the wraps or whatever. The side either like a pork pie or like a flame grilled steak McCoy's pack of crisps or something like that. Like if I'm having crisps, probably be that. Or if I'm not having it, be that. And I'd probably say for a drink, I'd probably get like, I don't know, like an Oasis or something. But a friend I used to work with used to always get like coconut water just because it's the most expensive thing. So you feel like he's like, you don't even like coconut water. Nah, but I'm saving £3.50 on this meal deal, so I'm happy. And I'm like, you're a weirdo.
I mean, I actually like smoothies, so that works for me.
Different.
But
like, no, I'm working out which is the most expensive of each of the three options, and that's what I'm choosing. I'm like, but you're drinking coconut water, mate. So like, what you doing? But yeah.
Mine's really boring. Like I'm trying to lose weight, so I just go for like the chicken and bacon, like you say, sandwich. I go for the baked Walker's cheese and onion or something, and like a diety drink. I've gone down a dress size. Like I'm quite trouser with it, but like not dress size, a trouser size. I knew what I meant. The trouser size.
You could have. We wouldn't have said, "Aha, he's wearing a dress." We know what you mean.
No, I just don't know why I said it. I don't think I've ever said that phrase in my life, and it just
it came out. There we go.
Yeah, but like, so it's a bit boring, really. But like, my boy does the triple, and he'll go for like a. The other ones that are quite expensive is those proteiny like bars with yogurt on and stuff. They're quite usually like. You'll go for one of them and a milkshake, usually like a fridge, because they're a bit dearer. Whereas I just go for like the Pepsi Max and sorry, it's really boring, isn't it?
It's all right though.
He's bringing it back to gaming. Says, what's your split of handheld to big screen gaming, and which do you prefer? I know Adam's answer to this, but
well, do you?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Wow.
Go on then. Answer for me in my accent.
Give the percentage split right now.
The percentage split I don't actually know.
I didn't know you were...
Wait,
what was that? What was that? Don't attempt my accent for a minute.
Some sort of random middle class sort of thing. Which was unintentional, but that's what it sounded like, didn't it? Like proper like...
I thought you were going to go full on like... Hey, had a deliverer. Like full on sort of old man mustache jowly chin.
It's horrendous. I reckon your split's probably...
No, you got to do it in my voice. You're doing me. I thought that's what you were doing. That's why I thought you did that voice.
I don't know what your voice... I can't do your voice.
You don't know what my voice sounds like.
Articulate. You've got like this like sexy radio host voice. I can't do. So like I'll just have to say it in my voice. I reckon your split's about 50-50. I reckon your split's about 50-50, and gun to your head, you prefer handheld gaming. I would say, if I was you.
Do you really think that, or are you trying to... No, I far prefer TV gaming.
Oh, okay.
But at the moment, the split is more like 37. Well, no, because Like a Dragon. So Like a Dragon, you have to take that aside, because that was on. But then, do you know what? I streamed a lot of that to Steam Deck via... There's a... It's paid. It cost me £5, just under £5. There's a bit of software that once you log in, you can... cloud stream to your Steam Deck, and it's like you're playing it on there, and it's really, really good. I know there are free versions that you can do as well, but this one was like, I saw a lot of people saying it was good. So I probably spent, I think I spent about 12 hours of like a Dragon on that. So I even played that, but I wouldn't want to play that game like that all the time. So I like the big screen gaming. It's but I really do like this Steam Deck. Like having tried them all now, like that Steam Deck is just. Yeah. There's something about just like it's the custom OS essentially. It runs the Steam. Yeah. It's something about just going play, and it does. And like there are games I can't talk about that I don't think I'd be hours deep into if it weren't for having it handheld. But I do also like Prince of Persia. I played a shitload of that on Switch, handheld. But I always like to start a game on the big screen if I can. So you sort of get the visuals and.
So you go to the local View and they set it up for you.
Yeah, no, I don't. I shop in Lidl, mate. I don't.
Lil Guardsman.
In Lil Guardsman.
Yeah, Aldi to be fair, but I mean, hey, it's all yellow, isn't it? And blue. It's IKEA. It might as well be
Aldi's
IKEA.
Better, don't worry.
Okay.
Does anyone want to guess my split? Are we all guessing each other's?
I reckon yours must be like probably near a 90-10. For handheld to...
Yes, I would say so. If it was possible for it to be 100-0, it probably would be.
What about, let's say, a game... I can't really think of one now because it's like if it's a PlayStation game, you're playing it on the telly because it's PlayStation. But let's say the PlayStation was the Switch, right? And it was so the PS5 had a thing you could pull out and just play it handheld. Yeah. And here's a code for God of War 3 or whatever, or Spider-Man.
Giving me all the games early at the moment, aren't they?
What would you just straight to handheld, like if you could?
Straight to handheld,
you would. Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's weird because when you were talking about Ace Attorney, the other thing that was popping into my head is like, I really do miss that 3DS. That was such a good console.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah.
What about you then, Chris?
I want Lyle to guess my split.
Yeah, I've got to guess.
Oh, I could guess yours, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I know you could. That's why I want Lyle to guess it.
I'm pretty sure if Adam's somewhere in the middle and I'm on the handheld side, I think Chris is going to be the opposite way. So, and I also know he doesn't have a Steam Deck, which changes.
He's got a Switch though. He's got a Switch.
He does have a Switch though, yeah. But I still think big screen. I think he's like the opposite 90-10 to me. I think he's like 90% TV.
I'm going to go one further. I don't think he's ever played a game.
Ooh.
On handheld,
apart
from DS and stuff, but like if the option is there, I don't think he's ever played on like the Switch. He must have played handheld Switch at some point, right?
Yeah, he shits like the rest of us.
Go on then.
I'd probably say it's a 95.5 or greater. It's not 100 because I have played handheld. But
what was the last time you played a handheld game? What was it?
It was. I took Tears of the Kingdom on holiday with me. That was the last time.
All right, let me rephrase that. What was the last time you played a handheld game out of choice? Like you were at home.
Oh, like at home, and I could have tried. No, I don't.
I mean,
this is the point. Right. I sit where I am now, and it's all my consoles are linked up to this. I just prefer a big screen. I just do. And it's just easier for me. Like I record, I capture stuff and everything. I just all together in one place, and I just prefer it, and I've just gotten used to it, and it's all together. Like we're
not judging you, by the way. This is fine.
I can give a shit if you were.
No, I'm just saying I
said worse things to you for you to judge me about than this. But like I used to, because when the Switch was first out, I used to play that a lot. But if we're talking now, it like.
But life's changed. Like, would you have taken the Switch with you to work when you were working like in an office 5 days a week, sort of thing? Would you have had it in your bag or not?
Probably wouldn't have taken it to work, but I'd have done a lot more when the
Maybe
Switch
he doesn't shit like the rest of us.
No, yeah. When the Switch was newer, I definitely played a lot more. Like, I probably have played the Switch in bed and I've forgotten, but like I played a lot more in bed or in the lounge and stuff. Like when we're just other things, which I know is what other people do. But like I just don't know. Like if I'm gaming, I want to concentrate on what I'm doing. And if I'm using the Switch, I feel like I'm taking it into an environment where someone else is doing something else, like my child or my wife, or whatever. I'm like, no, I want to focus on what I'm doing. And like I say, with some of the technical stuff, like the capture and stuff, I have to do in here anyway. So it's just
totally
easier.
Get that. Yeah, I totally get that. That's why one reason why I like to always start on a big screen. So I've got the like opening cinematic or something or some gameplay done. You know what I mean? I get it.
And like, I think as well, like, the Switch is my only option, and it's not an OLED Switch. I'm not complaining because I could go and buy an OLED Switch. It's fine, but like,
all right, steady. No one's questioning your finances.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't shop at Tesco's, but I haven't got an OLED Switch. It's like, who is this person?
It's priorities, mate. It's the same console. It does the same games.
Yeah, no, but I guess what I mean is like I feel like the handheld is a lesser experience, but it's the convenience, isn't it? So like,
like I say, there is a game.
So like,
some games I wouldn't have played.
If I'm not looking at an OLED screen, like it is an even lesser experience. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just
I don't think I'd have started or played as much of Lil Guardsman if I didn't have it on Steam Deck. I don't think I would have. It was just so convenient to start it one evening while the telly was on. I was like,
and don't get me wrong, there are definitely games like that which are perfect for Switch, to like dip or a Steam Deck to like dip in and out of. That's one of them where you literally can, and it's really, really easy. But yeah, I'm definitely like almost 100%, like to the point where I'd be like, do you want this on Switch? I'm like, you can, but I'll just be playing it here. You can give it to me on any console because I'm still going to sit here and play it most likely. So yeah,
The last question's for you as well, by the way. You noticed that?
Yeah.
Do you want to answer that, or is it because there's like? I'll ask you it, and you tell me if you want to answer it. What's Chris's favourite number?
Yeah, I saw this. I mean, I always say like it's 7, but I suppose for like
that's
comedy answer,
weird.
it's whatever the number is that makes boobies on a calculator where you turn it upside down.
So 8008 7355. Yeah.
Something like that. 315, whatever it is. But that one.
Oh yeah, IE. Yeah, I was thinking of Boobliss.
Boobliss.
Yeah.
That was the one. Yeah.
That was the other one.
Lee. All the calculator upside downies.
Yeah, upsies and downies. That's brilliant.
Oil, Lee, boobs, Boobliss.
High Boobliss if you had a long.
Oh, that one's new.
Yeah, no, 4 and 1 made the
scientific
high,
calculator required.
High
was
Boobliss. You could have full-on conversations if you had a big enough calculator.
You could just, but you could also just have
Touch
conversations.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that too. Yeah, of course, that too. Yeah. So
with
7.
Consent,
that's really weird.
That's to be really clear what we're saying here.
Okay. Do we all want to do our favourite numbers? Do we want to do our favourite numbers? I'm going to keep mine secret, although I will say what Chris has just said is kind of strange to me.
Yeah, I like 23.
Fair enough. I like 14 and 7. So multiples of 7 for me. My dad's was 7. Mine's 14. That's why when Chris said it was 7, I was like, oh, that's strange. Because there's like a lot of numbers he could have picked. He could have picked pi, whatever that is. I'm not going to try and say that word again. What was it? What did I say that time? Pythagorean theorem.
You went Pythagorean theorem or something.
Have you got any other good big long words I could try and say that are maths related, like arithmetic, or that's not really that long.
Did you say arithmetical?
No, I didn't, but now I will. I'm going to from now on. Arithmetical is the title of this podcast. Arithmetical.
There you
go. Yeah. Okay. Is that the end of the questions?
Yeah. Play the jingle before we go down another rabbit hole. Chris Hyde. Listen to Correspondence. It's time. It's time. Chris Hyde.
And that is the end of episode 542. It is, and I'm sure the listeners will agree, lovely to have Mr. Hyde back here. I'm pleased. I mean, we wouldn't have just had arithmetical if it weren't for him. Let's face it. So.
There we go.
What a joy I am.
Videogamies, I love that. I when I type that, I want people to hear your voice say it, but it is what it is. If you enjoyed this podcast and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell button so you don't miss any future content like our reviews or previews or anything else that goes up there. Do go to godisageek.com. That's the website where you'll find all the video game news and previews that don't make it to the YouTube channel or don't have video with them. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast if you're just an audio listener. If you just somehow happened across it and thought that was cool, I like them. Make sure you do that. Whatever system you want to use, whether it's iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, we're on there. And of course, do go to patreon.com/godisageek where you can support us for as little as $1 a month, and you'll get access to our Discord, and there's going to be exclusive podcasts coming up. We plan to get them going a bit quicker, but then we also, as I said, got caught by January like everybody else. Thank you very much to Lyle and to Chris for being here.
Thank you.
It's been good.
And everyone else, we'll speak to you next week, or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.